Well, hey, welcome to the show before the show where I check to make sure everything is working. Had to grab myself more water and a drink because Acererak might be an interesting challenge. Definitely going to be one worthy of at least one glass of scotch. But I think that he's definitely got bones to stand on. There's some interesting combos we can insert in this list that are new, which I want to insert into this deck. And then obviously there's some tried and true things out there that we can shoot for. But we'll talk about that when we get into the deck tech. But how are you all doing? Actually, there's some minor updates. So I've got Ethernet running to my laptop right now. And I heard the cries. From the previous stream that there was a little bit of lag or audio issues. So lag I can kind of deal with, right? It's just a issue of throwing money at it. Like most problems in the world. So I threw money at my internet connectivity. We talk about that in a second. But also, the audio. So I don't really, there's only so many variables I can control. The output going to you, yes. The quality of the microphones or them pitching in and out really depends on who's in attendance during a live stream. So I can't really alter that too much, right? I can't make everything sound crystal. If I could mic everyone, I would. That would be awesome. But such is not the case. However, for our Ethernet here, I got this cable, ran it all the way to my studio, drilled space between my door and the wall to get this in here. And after all this, I'm like, well, the upload speeds are still just okay. They're just okay. And we'll get into why I'm going through all this trouble in a second. But for these segments, it's usually fine. For gameplay, it's not so much. So I call Spectrum. They're like, yeah, your internet upload speeds are never really going to change. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, unless you get this new plan, and then we need to give you new hardware, and then there's an installment fee of like $200. They're running through so many hoops to like get better upload speeds. And I'm like, well, what's the approximate upload speed I should get in this building with this new hardware and your service? And it was like 60 megabits per second. Is that how it's measured? Which is only so much better than what I'm getting right now, which is not good, right? Relative to something like Fios, where the upload speeds are roughly the same as the download speeds. So I call Verizon, and well, damn, they offered me like the deal of the century to switch. I'm getting a free laptop as part of this service. It's the weirdest thing. I only found that out like after I paid to have a guy come out Friday to hook me up with Verizon Fios. But apparently they're giving me a Chromebook 4, or that's the deal, or like I got to write them back in 2 months, something like that, as an incentive to just switch plans, which is radical. I don't know how else to put that. But yeah, Brew Wars Live. It's definitely going to be a lot cleaner next time because I have literally the best internet package in the States. And it's going to be installed Friday. So I don't think it should be a problem moving forward, lag. I really hope not. There's sometimes lag on these episodes. I think that my internet connection it passed up until now, but this is going to be a whole new stream life here. And I wasn't expecting to do this much streaming, but I thoroughly enjoy it, and I hope you all enjoy it. So I wanted to pay so that we will all have a better experience. So have new internet speeds coming, should be ready by Friday so that Sunday, when we play with Mons, and I mean me and the Patreon community, from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and expect an alert in your inbox over on Discord and or here on YouTube if you do hit the bell and ask for the pings. Do expect a notice soon. I'll be putting that up on the YouTube page either tomorrow or later tonight. But no, I'm extremely excited for that. And I'm hoping to make this like a bi-weekly thing, either with the Patreon community and or guest. And I've been asking a bunch of other people if they want to jump on. And some days will just be me and the 99 crew with guests, or just me and the 99 crew, or just me and Patreon members. It's going to vary from week to week on a bi-weekly basis. At any rate, how are you guys? AJ Gaming says, hi. Patrick, what is your favorite legendary from D&D set? Oswald. Without a doubt. I have to say Oswald, because I bought the deck, and I'm pretty excited for it. For some reason, my AC doesn't want to cool me right now. You know, this is like a constant problem with this Frigidaire. It just like turns off. Yeah, Oswald. I think Oswald's probably the best legendary from the set. So far as a cEDH list is concerned, I think the effect is really amazing and took a lot more exploring beyond our initial cold brew to get it where it's at, and I like it a lot. So definitely something I'm going to stick with. Frank, move to Chattanooga and get 1 gig upload and download. Damn. Is it that bad, Frank, in Chattanooga? Sorry about that. Well, I'm glad you're able to watch this live. That's good. I build a Tiny Bones deck EDH. Do you think I need some lifelink equipment? No. I mean, you'll hopefully be able to accomplish the task of winning the game quickly enough to where you won't need lifelink, but even if you did have lifelink, it's not like Tiny Bones is getting that much damage in. So maybe other ways to gain life if you do find you need it. I mean, I found one of the issues when I played Tiny Bones was the fact that people will direct their attacks at you anytime you play a black list. You know, like Acererak here, I'm sure is going to get attacked constantly. You're going to lose life. So just make sure that you have a strategy that's planned for it. And because Tiny Bones loses life and draws cards, well, people are definitely going to want to attack you. I don't think you necessarily need lifelink, though. Oswald looks insanely good. He is. So, the little teaser I put out in the community post segment with Mons has me holding a wrench again. Because I'm hoping, like in the thumbnail for Oswald, I'm hoping that Oswald will all be here also by Friday. So you can expect to see me play it over the weekend. So if you want to see how that list performs, well, then is a good time. So far as the decks we're showcasing on these Brew Wars lives, I would imagine it's just going to be a diversity of things I already own. It's unlikely I'll want to print out many decks that I don't own. Just because it's hyper inconvenient. And it probably wouldn't look as nice looking at that much monochromatic magic. Richard says, hi. Well, hey. Hey, Rich. Who all here is excited for Acererak? Has anyone brewed for any legendaries from this D&D set? It's not one of the best sets to come out for Commander, but that's fine. You know, I wasn't anticipating it. However, it did give us some interesting legendaries, and I do like Acererak enough. I wouldn't say an Acererak is like my favorite legendary, but I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine to brew for. Definitely fine enough to brew for, but certainly not the best from this set. And I know for a lot of people, the lack of green and the lack of blue, because Acererak has 2 really decent combo cards in those colors, is a little off-putting, but won't get by just fine. Mesmer says, I put darkness in my Tiny Bones deck to negate any big swings at me since he attracts attackers. Oh, yeah, Minx. How is that list, by the way, Eris? Because Minx looks really good. It's like a Naya commander, right? Red, white, green. Making that up. That has a sack outlet on board, so that's really cool. And it also makes like an additional creature that you can sacrifice, utilize however you want. Boo, right? But it looked really cool. That was the legendary I was interested in, but I didn't decide to brew for. Maybe there's cold brews in Minsk. Maybe. I don't know. That would be fun, though. I'd like to see a competitive version or a heightened version. The best version of that we can make. We'll see. But yeah, did anyone else brew for any of these legendaries? Is anything else about the set getting you excited, or are we just ready to move on to Innistrad next month? Diego says good night. Good night where you're at. Well, good afternoon or evening here. Heyo, I run Hulk lines on it quite fast. Okay. Yeah, I figured Hulk was sort of like the route to go. That makes sense. The hamster is a D&D royal. It was D&D royalty. Is he? Dude, are people really jonesing to get their hands on Boo? Heartless Summoning and Carnival of Souls is infinite with Acererak. Well, it's not necessarily infinite, right? Because you do lose life with Carnival of Souls. But I guess if you had infinite life, you'd be okay. Is there a dungeon that gives us... Is there a dungeon that gives us life to counteract the death you should be expecting? I'll put Acererak up on Scryfall when we look at this to just see which dungeon is best. Obviously, we're going to try to avoid... We're going to try to avoid the Tomb of Annihilation, I think is what it's called. Because we want to infinitely crawl through dungeons, right? That is the idea. I tried brewing for Icing Death, but failed horribly. Tried brewing for Icing Death. I don't think I really gave Icing Death a gander. Wait up. Oh, what a sick looking dragon, though. Oh, what's the promo art look like? Even better. Okay, wait. When Icing Death dies, create Icing Death Frost Tongue. A legendary white equipment artifact with equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. Seems pretty dope. It's pretty easy to get down. I can see how you would fail miserably, though. It's got to be difficult to be consistent with that kind of strategy in mono white, which would just be an aggro strategy, I suppose. Yeah. I tried brewing for that. I'm trying to make a 5-color Shimmer-Zur deck taking advantage of Wrath Capatian Ship's Mage. Gonna be fun. Love the brews. Thank you. Yeah, it should be fun. I think Shimmer-Zur has still got a really good standing. But a 5-color Shimmer-Zur? Am I reading that right? Right. Is Zur like just in the 99? Okay. Add Staff of Death's Magus and Demon Horn. I think that's the name. Will counteract the life loss from Carnival of Souls. Oh, it's just like when a creature enters the battlefield, gain a life. That's interesting. I'm only really looking to do that a finite amount of times. If I'm manipulating Carnival of Souls, I'm really just trying to pull into better solutions, more permanent ones, right? I don't want to just put a band-aid over the gash that keeps gushing blood as we cast Acererak, because that's a card that's useless to us otherwise, unless we are shooting for Carnival of Souls every single game. Because the idea here, right, would be the Carnival of Souls with the Heartless Summoning, so that it's just, we get black, we pay a black and a life, and do the thing consistently. I don't want to find something that, I mean, that could be a solution. That could be a solution. I'm honestly just looking to peel into, like, a win, like a different way to make infinite black mana, or, because we're going to have other solutions in the deck. Although, I mean, we could do that. Let me see. Isn't there, there are other ways to gain life. Isn't there a statue? Oh my god. Bantu's Monument? No. Bantu's Monument. Wait up. Because I would want to use something that's like... That's also like an outlet, or also... Yeah, Bantu's Monument, 3 generic, black creature, spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Well, I mean, we're probably going to put this in the list anyways, just because I want the cost reduction. Well, whenever you cast a creature spell, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. That would also counteract it. Obviously, this doesn't pay for itself, because it's only reducing him by 1. But this is a card that we could incorporate in the list that's just good value, is an outlet, and does counteract the life loss, right? So at that point, you wouldn't really need to be concerned about the dungeons. It's just another utility that you can leverage, which is not bad. But Bantu's Monument is something I'll probably want to add to counteract the life loss. Zur in the 99, got you. Lost Mine seems best because it's a win on if you would venture infinitely. Win con if you adventure, yeah. The Dragonaut being an artifact is really problematic. I see that. All right, I think we're good to go. Are you guys good to go? Let's take a look at Acererak, but let's start this thing off right. Why don't we? Welcome back to the 99, where we're focused on brewing a better competitive commander. I'm your host, Patrick Marlett, and this is Cold Brew, where I take you from start to finish on a brand new deck list, or at least new for me. And today we're taking a look at Acererak. I think that's how you pronounce his name. The Arch-Lich. So for 2 generic, 1 black, legendary creature, zombie wizard. Let me just make sure that you guys are actually looking at the screen I'm looking at. There we go. When Acererak and the Arch-Lich enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation, so we'll try to avoid that one, return Acererak the Arch-Lich to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. Oh, okay, so you can see what we want to do here. When Acererak the Arch-Lich attacks, for each opponent you create a 2/2 zombie creature token unless that player sacrifices a creature. That's actually a really cool effect, and sadly one we're never going to leverage. I just don't foresee us leveraging that. Maybe there's a game where we are forced to go to combat, but I don't think it's going to come down to that. I do like the extended version. Okay, so Tomb of Annihilation, just to see what we're missing. It is the shortest of all the tombs, so it's actually not difficult to get through the Tomb of Annihilation. You could severely wing yourself by going Trapped Entry, Oubliette, and then Cradle of the Death God. Just do it. Go through all of it if you really did want to get past this top trigger. But the main allure of playing Acererak is, of course, being able to, in an ideal situation, do this infinitely or enough to, destroy the board. So anywhere between Dungeon of the Mad Mage and the Lost Mine of Phandelver is a good place to be. Right, so Phandelver does what Bontu's Monument does, if you were watching the show before the show, which you probably did. The Dark Pool is essentially the same thing as Bontu's Monument, right? So you'd carve through this list. We see your Scry 1, create a treasure token. The treasure token can help us recast Acererak, so that's good to note. Obviously, each opponent loses 1 life. We would go for Dark Pool, and we'd go for the Temple of Dumathoin. Now, the only trick here is that it's not a May. You have to draw the card, so we can't repeat this dungeon if we've drawn our deck elsewise, right? And I do imagine us using Ad Nauseam, so this could be tricky if we get, very close to the bottom of our list, and that's why we also have Dungeon of the Mad Mage. But this is another situation where you do actually happen to draw in some of these instances, right? The last one, draw 3 cards, reveal them. You may cast one of them without paying its mana cost. So it should never really get to the point where we go through our entire deck, especially if you're utilizing Lost Mine of Phandelver to just do 1 damage to each person. It's very doubtful that they'll have over 40 life or over their starting total, and or you'll be under more than half your deck, right? So do bear that in mind. We should be able to win the game with Phandelver, but if not, then we can put at least 1 outlet in the list, and I've named 1 already offhandedly that we'll have, just in case some scenario pops up where we can't go through dungeons infinitely. And that's the thing. How do we accomplish that task? Now, clearly the best way to do this would just be to have infinite mana, specifically black mana, so you can accomplish this task. But there are other tricks that you can loop, essentially, that will allow you to venture into dungeons any number of times, or at least a finite amount of times. So what I've set up is a very loose list so far as mana is concerned, and some strategies I want to play for. Some things were already mentioned off the bat, but if you're following along with this, you can check out the list. It's going to be in the description, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this after the fact. You should be able to see the list now. But I do want to start with some of the core cards, in my opinion. Ad Nauseam is very self-explanatory. We're going to keep this list as trim as possible. Mind you, we are using some expensive combo cards here, right? But we're going to try to keep this list as trim as possible so that we can pull through a lot of our deck and very quickly set up a win line. Ad Nauseam helps with that, particularly because we're getting value from venturing, don't get me wrong, but we don't really have solid draw or tutoring or anything like that in the command zone. It's sort of like a loose value engine. It really depends on where you're at in the dungeon, right? But we also have Heartless Summoning. So this card is kind of a favorite of mine, and it never really sees use in any of my decks because it's not very important that you do this, like reduce the cost of your creatures by 2, particularly because the -1, -1. In a lot of cases, for at least lists that contain, you know, Golgari, like that you throw in some green, you're going to want to maintain your 1-drops, your 1/1s. And there's a lot of creatures that just die to this, unfortunately. I think Dark Confidant. Dark Confidant should survive, right? Or is Dark Confidant a 2/1? Well, Dark Confidant will die. We're still going to use Dark Confidant, but you get the idea. Heartless Summoning is really good for Acererak because it makes Acererak 1 black. And then if you have something like Carnival of Souls, right? 1 generic, 1 black. So total casting cost of 4 CMC between 2 artifacts, or enchantments rather. Whenever a creature comes into play, you lose 1 life and add black to your mana pool. Now, mind you, this says whenever a creature comes into play. It's not a creature you control. This is any time a creature comes into play. Your opponents, anyone dropping creatures, you're going to lose 1 life and make a lot of black. So if you're holding that ad nauseum and there's a Najeela player, well, let that Najeela hit threshold on those soldiers or whatever they are, those tokens she's making, get a lot of black mana and spend it on the ad nauseum, right? Or if you foresee like creatures entering the battlefield, you can play around this mana gain is what I'm really getting at. It's actually useful that it works off of anyone's creatures. It's also a double-edged sword in the fact that it's pretty damning that it works off other people's creatures. But do bear that in mind. If you're utilizing this, you'll be hurting yourself. It's not a May. But there is a Buried Alive pile I want to very quickly demonstrate that I want to incorporate in this list because it's something I've been wanting to do ever since I read off Asmodeus. So this Devil God over here. For 4 generic double black, legendary creature Devil God, 6/6 body. I'm just going to read the important part. We're never going to cast Asmodeus. If we have Asmodeus, we'll find a way to discard him. Black, 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 draw 7 cards. Only important part. Scourge Familiar, 4 generic, black. Never going to cast this. Has flying, it's a 3/2 body. Fine. Discard a card, add a black. Okay, Necrotic Ooze. Where am I going here? Necrotic Ooze. Discard 3 cards. Make sure you have 3 cards to discard. When both these creatures, Scourge Familiar and Asmodeus, are in your graveyard, discard 3 cards, get the 3 black, draw 7 cards, continue that process. And this is going to help us pull into solutions we need to win the game. So this is actually a really decent Buried Alive pile. Of course, we can add things like Villas. You know, we're already banking on things that make us lose life. We can even lose life in just a few of these ventures. At least, well, it might just be Tomb of Annihilation that makes us lose life. But let me take a gander here. Either way, we can add other reanimate targets. Like we can add Razaketh if we want to get the ball rolling as well. I do think Villas might have a home here. We'll see what our cards look like. But our land base, pretty simple. We just want to get to the job really quickly. So I've added the Gemstone Caverns. I've added Lake of the Dead. Lake of the Dead, not great outside of mono black, but fine in mono black. Definitely not what you want in your starting hand, but will be good mid-game onwards if you find yourself falling behind and want to rush out the combo. If you have a tutor, grab the ad nauseum, utilize the Lake of the Dead. You get the idea. But yeah, it's pretty simple. We just want to do the thing a lot of times and make our opponents lose. And this again will be with Lost Mine of Phandelver in my mind. That's the venture we want to make. But I'm going to tune in with you guys, see what you think of the combos I have here. I guess one more combo before we discuss this together. You can add a Priest of Gix, right? And this is another guy that gets stumped by the Heartless Summoning, okay? So you obviously can't play for this if you have Heartless Summoning. You can't, because Priest of Gix with Ashnod's Altar and Nim Death Mantle will generate 5 mana. I'm not going to illustrate the combo unless we go for it. And then you will make infinite black mana with that. So 3 black from Priest, 2 off Ashnod's Altar. Nim Death Mantle lets us bring him back for 4. Right? So there's another combo I'm contemplating. We may or may not include it. It really depends on how we're feeling. So let me see what you guys think about this general structure for the list so far. And of course, we can add any additional combos we'd like to include here. I think that beyond the Heartless Summoning Carnival of Souls loop, we can add, obviously, things to give us life gain. That seems like that was of general interest for the audience. Again, Bantu's Monument is sort of the big one in my mind. It's very simple to use. But the idea would be to quickly get Alphen ad nauseum and then like semi-storm into our solutions, and or use Asmodeus, Necrotic Ooze, and Scourge Familiar to pile up our hand in much the same way as we would with our ad nauseum, and then, you know, find the solution that way manually. Cast all of our fast mana, all our rituals, get the job done. All right. Patrick, do you still play Tiny Bones, or have you retired the list? I have retired the deck because it got a ridiculous amount of hate every time I played it, and it got very tiresome having to deal with that hate, because it was so much so that it detracted from other actual threats. Like, it's a stacks list. Its job is to slow the game down, set the pace, but because it would get such a target on its head and it would attract so much attention that some people could just run away with the game, or even sidelined trying to deal with Tiny Bones, whilst, you know, two of my other opponents did, and kind of just ran with the game. It was very odd how people play around Tiny Bones, especially if you get the ball rolling and you're successful with it. It's very interesting to see. I might break it back out because I still love this strategy, but it got very tiresome. Hey Perry, Brixundle, Brexton, I don't know how to pronounce that. BRX. You could use Aetherflux Reservoir to counteract Carnival of Souls, yeah, and it could be a win con as well. Sure, totally could do that. There are some older cEDH ad nauseum lists in Mono Black that relied on Razaketh to do a manual storm into killing your opponents, right? There was Yawgmoth's Will in that list too at the time, if I remember correctly. You could do Aetherflux Reservoir. I think Bontu's Monument's probably the route I'll go, just because Bontu's is less and then has added value beyond, you know, this one-off combo with Carnival Souls and our Heartless Summoning. Other cost reducers are Undead Warchief, Seal... okay, here. Fibblethip is going for it. Wait up. Let's go to our list here. I'm going to add these cost reducers now. Fibblethip. I don't know if we keep all of them, but Bontu's Monument. I'm just going to add the ones that are coming to mind for me right now. We want Jet Medallion, right? Jet Medallion should be good. And then you're saying Undead Warchief. I don't know what some of these are. Does this guy like reduce the cost of zombies specifically? That sounds kind of cool. And Seal the Guild Pack. I don't know. Seal the Guild Pack's an expansive one, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to add these and look at them on the sideboard. How about that? Seal the Guild Pack. Cloud Key. And again, I'm not sure we incorporate all of these, but I do want to look at them. Immortal Sun, I'm going to be off of. I already know that one's just a little out of our range here. Jorah's Familiar is also very expensive. Helm of Awakening, I don't want to give that advantage to. Bontu's and Monument. Bontu's Monument? Yeah. Urza's Incubator is also really good cost reducer, and I'll take a gander at that really quick. This is good. Hold up. This one's up there. This one's up there so much so that I think it's in the main list, right? I actually quite like that. Urza's Incubator is fantastic. Is Urza's Incubator reserve list? Hold up. We're gonna do this. Cost less. We're just gonna look it up. Not white. No white here. And let me go ahead and save. Continue this. But be sure to follow as we build the deck so that you can actually test it out yourself at the end of this and make your own changes. The whole idea for these cold brews being, it's a list we make together that I hand off to you to do with what you will. And if I happen to like the list like I did recently with Oswald or previously with Sithis, I make the list and you guys get to see them on Brew Wars Live, which I'm really stoked for. Been wanting to incorporate more gameplay. And on that note, for the audience that's here, And you can elaborate on this poll I'm about to set forth. But how... Okay. I'm trying to find the words to add under this very impromptu poll. Hey, fine. It's cool when it's there, and it's a no. But how important is gameplay on EDH channels for you? That's just a poll I want to put out there, because I've been wanting to add more gameplay to the channel. That's why Brew Wars Live is something that I'm passionate about getting done right. For the folks that were here off the beginning when I was talking about how I switched to Fios. It's just important that we do this right. But how important is to you for EDH channels? I find that there's just so many new channels springing up with like pre-recorded webcam gameplay with commentary or whatever. And it's lovely. It's good that we're getting a lot of it, but I don't know. There's a human element to doing things via live stream that I enjoy. So I want to incorporate more live streams on the channel and then also more gameplay. And this sort of filled that need perfectly for me, at least. But let me see here. Are we ready running Jet Medallion? We are now. Fluctuator should be core. Fluctuator should be core. Gene King, I'll look at it. I think it's sad most channels just have some type of summary of games instead of all the useless social stuff too. Useless social. I know a lot of people don't like the 99 for its social aspect, but I know I make content that I would want to see, and I prefer banter. I don't know, it's more humorous to me at least, and it's more humorous to shoot. Although it would be a lot easier to just record, gameplay and commentate. I don't know. Maybe we do that. Okay. Let me look at these cards with you. Helm of Awakening we're definitely going to avoid. Fluctuator. Cycling abilities you activate cost 2 less to activate. Don't think we have any cycling effects. Not yet. And maybe we do. We don't have them yet. So, artifacts you control, Cloud Key is decent. I think Cloud Key, did I put in? Oh, Semblance Anvil's good. Because you may exile a non-land card from your hand. This is the same thing as like a Urza's Incubator, right? But it does have this additional cost, which kind of sucks. But it can drive down the cost of other things. So, maybe we add Semblance Anvil. Here's my theory. Anything that reduces Acererak to 1 black pip is good for the list. That's my theory. It's the theory I'm going to work with. This also means that we need a certain amount of creatures to get this to work. So I'm a little nervous about that. God. Imagine the foil Urza's Destiny, Urza's Incubator. Probably going to be very expensive. Not that we need to get the foil one, but boy don't I want it. I'll end that poll around 5:30 while you guys chatted up on it. But I'm thinking Semblance Anvil's good. I'm thinking Urza's Incubator's good. We're not going to run any stacks here. We're going to try to turbo this out as much as we can with the mono black list. And you'll find it can be difficult sometimes. You do need those very magical hands to get the job done. But black is in a good part of the color pie to hopefully accomplish this task. So I think we'll be good. Think being the operative word. That might be it for cost reducers. I'm pretty sure that there's a 6 CMC artifact as well that reduces the cost by 2. Yeah, Planner Gate. But I don't want to go this deep. We shouldn't go this deep for our cost reduction, right? That kind of, like I said, turbo, right? Turbo being the main word. Is there a better word for that? I hate the word turbo. Is there a better way to accomplish this task that's it's like not as cost prohibitive? That's what I want to know. But let me see here. Let's save this out really quick. And take a look. Well, you know what? Actually, I might as well just add some of our fast elements as well while we're here. So Soul Ring makes sense. Mana Crypt makes sense. I don't know if Mana Vault really makes sense for this list. Oh, you know what? I'm lying to you. We're focusing on Ad Nauseam. Yeah, it does. Mox Opal. Mox Diamond. Did I add Mox Diamond or did I add Chrome Mox? I added Chrome Mox. Okay. We're going to add Mana Vault. We can add Grim Monolith. We're going to stop there so far as CMC is concerned. I do want to add the Dark Ritual. I want to add Cabal Ritual. I want to add Culling Ritual. Now, we can get crafty. Like if we have the cost reducer, let's just say we have the Semblance Anvil, right? Reducing Acererak to 1 black. It seems kind of foolish to do this, but if we have the Ad Nauseam in hand and can land it, you know, we could push to cast Acererak while the trigger's on the stack, use something like a Sacrifice or Culling Ritual in this instance to just net a positive amount of mana, right? So Sacrifice 1 black. We would net 1 black there, so not very much, but Culling Ritual would give us a little bit more. I don't know if we're going to leverage a utility like that outside of Culling Ritual. But we want mana. We want mana now. We're going to do Arcane Signet. It seems silly to have like Arcane Signet in a list that's mono color, but sometimes just having the color in your part of the color pie on demand is really good. So Arcane Signet's really great. It's just a step above Fellwar Stone in that regard. Although most lists will shoot for like their Underground Sea or what, you know, whatever black providing land, because black is it's kind of important with most modern cEDH list. But Arcane Signet should be fine. Let me know if there's any black rituals I'm missing. You know, we can use things like Songs of the Damned as well. And let me just see if Songs of the Damned makes sense first. Obviously, we have Scourge Familiar. We can add Blood Pet. It's weird. We're going to add Blood Pet as like a piggy bank. And hear me out. It's just another thing we can Semblance Anvil to. So maybe it will come in handy. I want at least one more 2 CMC rock, so I'll stop at Fellwar Stone, and then we'll save this out and see what the deck looks like now. But yeah, I'm going to close that poll out and get some feelers from you guys. Get some feels from you guys. Okay. The problem with gameplay is that I just don't have the time to watch 2-hour games anymore. I like banter, but I'd rather watch cEDH than lower powered. I see. Emmanuel ZC, still a great tutor for casual. I'm assuming there's something I'm missing. That's okay though. Some of the channels have voiceover with quick summaries of plays with frequent jump cuts for shorter videos, though they quite often have multiple games for longer videos. Yeah, that makes sense, right? I've seen those. I guess people want this to be more palatable. It's interesting. Like, I wish that I followed more people that did long form content. There's a lot of people that do reviews on audio video production gear, stuff like that. Not that I'm looking to buy a new camera every month, but I like watching those while I'm doing things around the house because like a 45-minute video is going to last long enough for me to handle the dishes, like walk to the post office. Like, I enjoy long form content because it's something that I can have on in the background and enjoy casually. And most of the people I do tune in for like have 10-minute segments. I can watch game ranks quite often. I like being aware of, you know, the latest video games, stuff like that. So it's interesting. I actually crave long form content. Maybe that's just me. With cEDH games, like within a 2-hour window, depending on the pod, like you can get a lot of games in. And if it's cEDH, even if it stacks, at least those games are heightened by some extent. You know, they're like big plays and someone wins on the spot. And that's also really exciting. It's almost like watching a soccer match. Like when someone makes that goal, it's exciting seeing it build up to that point for me. Herald's Horn could be good cost reducer. It only reduces it by 1 though. Can't have culling. Oh, culling ritual. I'm sorry. Did I say culling ritual? I keep doing this. Culling the weak. I mean to say culling the weak. My lord. I keep doing this though because I'm obsessed with culling ritual, but culling the weak is it's just a better version of sacrifice essentially. If you haven't seen this card, you should pick up a copy. It's not reserved list, but it's one of those cards that deserves to be more expensive than it is. You don't even have to use the link in the description below. Just get yourself a copy of Culling the Weak. I have 4 copies lying around. Don't ask me why I have 4 copies. All right. Do you have Heartless Summoning in? Yes. Does Burnt Offering? No, it doesn't, because I believe it's been errated to have colored pips in it. So it makes Rakdos mana. Lich's Mastery for the meme win. A card you should never play, but why? Wait. I think I know what you're talking about. I haven't looked at this in ages, though. We can add Lich cards if we want. You can't lose the game. When you gain life, draw that many cards. Whenever you lose life for each one life you lost, exile permanent. When Lich's Mastery leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. God, it's rough times. God, it's so bad. It's so bad, but the art is so good. It's rough. Can't go there, though. We're not going to do it. I personally love all the banter. It makes it so much more interesting and funny to watch. Thank you. I like long form content when driving and need something to listen to for a while. Yeah, I get that. I don't really... we have a car. I don't drive too much here, though. I do all my work from home. I am too. Love that card. Culling Ritual, Culling the Weak are both fantastic. They both are. But on that note, so we've added our fast mana suite, and this could be all of it. I'm not certain. But I do want to add at least one more combo with Ashnod's Altar. We'll see if we actually incorporate it or need it. But it's nice to have Ashnod's Altar, Priest of Gix, because this is just a sort of tried and true combo that you can incorporate in the deck, and we might as well test if we like it here. But the Nim Death Mantle loop is pretty nice for infinite black mana. There's also stuff we can do with Magus of the Coffers as well. And even if we wanted to make infinite mana, we could use Magus of the Coffers in a Buried Alive setup. I'm not sure we're going to do that, though. Right? Like Magus of the Coffers, Pilla-Palla, Necrotic Ooze. Obviously, we don't have haste, so it will have to wait, and we need X amount of swamps to make infinite mana that way, if you know the combo I'm referring to. I'm trying to think of any other Buried Alive pile we might want to incorporate. Genuinely, there's maybe a handful of things we could do in these colors. There's infinite damage loops, but we're trying to go for Acererak as a win, right? So we'll just stick with that. Now, at this point, I think it's probably best, now that we have our mana, now that we have our land base with mana, our fast mana suite, I think we can probably incorporate just value cards. Am I wrong? Like, there's really not much this list needs beyond what we added. I think the cost reducers we certainly have enough of at this point. I think draw utilities might be useful, actually, so we can discuss that. We're not gonna be on Necropotence, I don't think, although I've incorporated an Emergence Zone, so maybe we throw in the Necropotence. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Turn 1 Dark Ritual and Necropotence is really good. Like, whatever your main game plan is, it's fine. Dark Ritual and Necropotence, better than that. In most cases, it's usually better, bearing in mind that it does mess up our graveyard quite a bit. All right, anytime we discard a card, we would have to exile it, so, you know, the Scourge Familiar combo gets messed up, but I think everything else should be fine. Let's go ahead and add our Tutor Suite quickly, and then we can add our draw utilities as well. But while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to add Dark Confidant. I'm going to add Dark Tutelage. I already added the Necropotence. That makes sense to me. And if there's anything else that you want to include so far as draw utilities are concerned, just shout them out, and then we'll go ahead and add those. But I think our Tutor Suite is fairly simple. I think that we might be able to get use out of... Hold up. What is the one... What is the black... the undergrowth on it? Oh my god. Undergrowth search. It's got fairy on it. There we go. Mausoleum Secrets. I think Mausoleum Secrets might be good. Keyword. Might be good. So that's another sort of oddball tutor that might be useful for this list. Obviously, we're going to use Diabolic Intent. We're not going to go beyond... we're not going to do anything like Praetor's Grasp, I don't think. Praetor's Grasp would really just steal someone else's like Demonic Tutor or Mana Crypt or something useful. We don't really need to utilize our opponent's list for any sort of win potential, I don't think. This is going to be a value piece for the list. I want Dothy Voidwalker in there. I also want Opposition Agent, which is technically a tutor, if you really look at it. And so far as Wishclaw Talisman, let me say this really quick, and I'm going to tune in with you guys to see what you want in the list. Let's see here. I love... Whoa, we're liching. We're not liching, Paul Johnson. No liching today. Other than our main boy, our head honcho here, Acererak, we're not going to be liching. I love watching long-form content because I'm normally an hour or so early at my LGS before people get there, so it helps pass the time. Cool. I keep forgetting I'm located in Arizona with you guys. All my family's in Arizona right now. Conqueror's Fail so that you can combo off safely. I mean, yeah, you could. I never really prioritize those types of effects. They just eat up space in your list. They can be good. Like, they can be good sometimes. But Sage, you might make the cut. I'll think about that. Can use all 3 mana separately. I don't know what we're referring to, but I believe you. Endrick Sar can be decent with Ashnod's Altar, since you're usually playing your commander a lot. Edric doesn't... Well, Ashnod's Altar only makes the generic, though, right? So we do need the Priest of Gix to really get that to work. But what's nice is Priest of Gix is like... Even if you only see it as like 3 mana gain 3, at least it's a 3 mana gain 3 that can also provide you like a tutor with Diabolic Intent, right? So maybe you needed the excess mana, you can do the Diabolic Intent and get your Buried Alive and cast the, you know, the Buried Alive with the Entomb in your hand. Not the Entomb, the Reanimate in your hand. Speaking of, we should probably add our Reanimate spells. But Reanimate's going to be really core here. I don't even think I've added Buried Alive, and we just covered tutors. So we want Buried Alive. Did I do Unmarked Grave? Would be good here. Unmarked Grave is a little bit of an oddity. I don't know how good Unmarked Grave's going to be here, actually. So I'm going to put it to the side. Just thinking about like our main combo lines. I don't think Unmarked Grave is really great for us, but I do want to add like Animate Dead. Dance of the Dead. We'll even add Necromancy. I don't generally go for the full suite of them. I'll usually stop with just Animate Dead. But in a mono black list whose main goal is to reanimate things to win the game, seems kind of important. We'll see. We can also, if we happen to use Acererak, like if we do Culling the Weak, not ritual, on Acererak, we can actually use what is the one that resurrects a thing that's 3 CMC or less? It's like Unearth. I think it's just called Unearth. Yeah, okay. So we'll add Unearth. Unearth would be good. Probably all the free graveyard hate. Like Leyline of the Void. Like Leyline of the Void. Endrick Sar and Phyrexian Altar for Infinite Black. Oh, that's what you mean. In case you guys don't know, let's... Am I spelling this wrong, or are we spelling it wrong? No, I added a letter. So, this guy. So this is a little tough with like Ad Nauseam. You only want so many cards that are 5 and over, because that eats a big chunk of your health away. But whenever you cast a creature spell, put X black 1/1 Thrall creature tokens on the battlefield, where X is the spell's converted mana cost. So this is neat for the list because you can do... This is actually really nice because if we did this... Let me see here. When you control 7 or more Thralls, we're never going to do that. I mean, we should never get to the point where that's the case, right? You should be sacking them. And the idea would be, at least what's being suggested here, Phyrexian Altar, right? So this is a nice 2-card combo. Oh shit, I kind of like this better. The way Acererak works, I actually like this better than the Priest of Gix line. I totally forgot about Endrick. Like I've never actually played for him. I've known people to build Endrick list, but we're gonna do we'll do that. I actually like that better. Thank you for the suggestion. Because Phyrexian Altar is nice by itself. Having the colored mana is actually quite good. But I'd rather have a 2-card combo with Acererak than a 3-card combo with Acererak. So let me add those to the list, and we'll sideline this other one for now. Although Priest of Gix might still be good. Oddly enough, I kind of want it just because I really want to get Semblance Anvil down. So we're going to need that. Endrick Sar, and then Phyrexian Altar. This is actually a really cool combo. So let me see here. Adding these, we just mentioned, oh yeah, I was just thinking about something I really wanted to add, and I forgot. It was really good. It was super good. It was the best card this list could ever see. And I just forgot it. Okay. But thank you, Zach Crane, for that. Are you planning to run Phyrexian Altar Grave Crawler combo? So Phyrexian Altar, so the thing is with, okay, so we need a zombie for Grave Crawler to be not active, but have its ability functional, which is you may cast Grave Crawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. So the zombie in our list would be Acererak, I suppose. But we're not going to try to do the Tomb of Annihilation to have Acererak on the battlefield. Now, in a chance scenario where we do like Emergence Zone, we do Emergence Zone, Acererak, trigger on the stack, Phyrexian Altar out, Gravecrawler down, cast the Gravecrawler, sack the Gravecrawler. You don't make infinite black. You make enough to cast Gravecrawler. So you'd need something like... You would need something that generates mana while you're doing this, like the Carnival of Souls. Or there's another loop for Gravecrawler, but if you have the specific cards you want us to look at, let me know, and we can consider it Phyrexian Walker. But insofar as I know, there isn't really a solid combo that will function with this. And again, that was requiring what I was specifically stating, Emergent Zone, which isn't necessarily something we want to shoot for. All right. Just need to take a black Sharpie and make Rooftop Storm a black card. Plumb the Forbidden is a dummy good enchanter. Oh, yeah. So, you guys want to look at this really cool card. It's almost like a... Right? I almost feel like this is a little bit better because we don't make as much, but Plumb the Forbidden is instant speed, additional cost. You may sacrifice one or more creatures if you do. Copy the spell for each creature sacrificed this way. This is kind of cool with like Magecraft effects. And by the way, we could add like a Chain of Smog, Professor Onyx if we wanted, but you guys let me know if you think that's logical or not. You draw a card and lose one life. This is just a nice way to sack a thing and then draw 2 cards. No additional creatures required beyond the 1. But this isn't so bad and it costs less, right? So maybe we add Village Rites if we feel like we need it, but I'm feeling okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Phyrexian Devourer, Triskelion, Walking Ballista, Necrotic Ooze is a weird combo. So stars to play StarCraft. I actually run that combo in my Golgari list, this Belby list. And that is in light of the fact that the list doesn't hate on Graves, and it can very easily accomplish that. However, I don't see that being a more effective pile than Asmodeus and Scourge Familiar. And because we need black from Scourge Familiar, at least there's an added benefit to that. And also we're just trying to win with Acererak anyways, so adding a separate kill line to the list kind of defeats what this list is trying to do. Whereas something like Belby can use just a kill combo on command. However, you can add that if you want. That makes sense. Priest of Gix is OP in Tymna. Yeah, I could see that. Did you mean adding Scalding Tarn to the list? Did you mean to add Scalding Tarn? Did I add Scalding Tarn to the list? Sorry about that. If that's true, no. I did not. Let's look at our fetch land suite really quick. Did I add another fetch land that's not right for the list? It should just be 4. Wait, Verdant Catacombs, Marsh Flats, Pluto Delta, Bloodstained Mire. I kind of want to be at 29 lands anyways. So, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That helps a lot. Hey, okay, so, okay. Dream Devourer to throw your commander in exile and cast it for 1 mana later. No, and this is a card that's come up twice now in our recent streams. Do you guys like okay, here. God, every time I put a poll up for a creature, you guys just go gaga over it. But I'll ask, do you all want Dream Devourer in the deck? And I'll read it off for you now. For 1 generic, 1 black. Oh, too close. Okay, it's pretty heinous looking. Demon Cleric. Each non-land card in your hand without Foretell has Foretell. Its Foretell cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 2. When you foretell a card, Dream Devourer gets +2/+0 until the end of turn. So basically, you can cast Acererak, bounce it to your hand, foretell it by paying 2 mana, and then cast it for 1 black later. Do you want Dream Devourer? Let me know. And if we want it, then we do it. But we do need more creatures, and that's why I really like the suggestion of Fairy Macabre here. I actually like the Fairy in this list. I think it's decent. It's going to be decent Grave Hate, but it's also just a body for us to sack and utilize for any sort of situation. It's just not coming up. There we go. Yeah, Leyline and Rogue are already added. Oh, I didn't add Leyline though, Sif. So I will add Leyline of the Void. I do think Leyline would be fine. It's a little bit of a tricky include because, I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but this list should be doing things proactively. So I'm going to put it off to the side for now, but we might reintroduce it. Okay. Scheming Symmetry in tutor slot when you're ready to win on your turn. So here's the deal with Scheming Symmetry, guys. If you don't know this card, it's essentially like an Imperial Seal, but also an opponent gets to do it, right? So if you haven't seen this really good Seb McKinnon art card, by the way, I think this has like a full... Oh, this was just before they started doing the full border treatment. I would have loved to have seen this in full border because this art is one of my favorites. But Scheming Symmetry lets 2 players, it doesn't have to be you, and 1 other player tutor, and then you put it on top of your deck. So we can actually map this out so that we get the card when we need it. So if we're going through a dungeon, if we're just going through a dungeon with Acererak, and we're able to line it up such that the next ability is a draw effect, we can actually use Scheming Symmetry and then cast Acererak. So for 1 black, and then venture into the draw. Mind you, it is 2 black to accomplish that, but I mean, Demonic Tutor's, 2 mana anyways. So maybe I'm saying this isn't a world where we have the Urza's Incubator, Semblance Anvil. This isn't a world that we're trying to set up initially. So it could be useful. The thing with Scheming Symmetry, and sometimes you need to use it before you're trying to pop off. Scheming Symmetry is definitely a double-edged sword, but it can also be a benefit. So if I am conscious that it's getting near the end of the game, and that people are holding up their counters, they're holding up their measures, their countermeasures in general, to handle players as they try to pop off, I can hand it to a player to give them an opportunity to try to pop off and get everyone else to hate on that player before it rolls around to me. So sometimes it's beneficial, but seldom often does it work out that way. So let me know if you guys want to add Scheming Symmetry, we can. And I'll close out this current poll in like a minute or so. Son of Yawgmoth, best card. Yeah, I guess you would need a 3rd card like Pitiless Plunderer to make the Phyrexian Altergrave Crawler combo pop off. Yeah, you would. 3 cards might be too much. And Phyrexian Walker, I agree with you. I think that's why the Edric suggestion was really good. Open the Graves would be a lot of work, perhaps. Devourer is great in my Kalia Zenith Seeker. 4 average CMC deck. Terrible everywhere else. Well, we'll see if it's chosen here. Okay, I'm going to close this up because I'm curious as to what you guys said. Okay. Y'all agreed with me for once. You don't want to see it. Okay. Thought I might as well ask, but is Panharmonicon in the deck? Yeah, and guys, if you're not following along, I definitely suggest you jump over on the tapped out link so that you can see what's in the deck currently. I'm trying to save this out constantly. I'll just do it now while I'm thinking about it so that you guys are up to date with what's in the list. But what's cool about this is that if an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes a trigger ability of a opponent you control to trigger, the ability triggers again. So what's nice about this is that you can utilize this with our boy to venture twice. Right? Yeah, there shouldn't be any hiccups with that, the way Acererak reads. There shouldn't be. So, it's 4 mana. I don't know, you guys like Panharmonicon? I don't know. I'm having trouble with this one. I like it. I think the cost is very high for something that isn't winning the game, and it's just a value piece. But the cost feels very high for it. Because it can be, in some instances, like a 4 mana do nothing. Especially if there's a Draneth Magistrate, which we really need to talk about a removal suite in a second. Like, we want the lowest CMC removal suite we can get. But we're going to have to remove some Draneths because that hampers our plan. Especially if we didn't, cast Acererak already. It can really hamper our plan. Okay. Wishclaw Talisman is in. And I'm with you. I don't have Nightscape Familiar. Are Carnival of Souls and Crick in there? So people keep saying Crick. We can talk about Son of Yawgmoth. Song of Yawgmoth. Son of Yawgi. We'll look at the Yawgdog son. For each black in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay the mana. Whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Crick, Son of Yawgmoth. Oh my god. I live in a very popular street, so you're lucky that doesn't happen more often when we're streaming. This guy's okay. Why do we like Son of Yawgmoth? I think this guy's used a lot, and I'm not really certain as to why. Let me know though. Is there something like really backbreaking, amazing that this Phyrexian horror minion? Oh, he just got a new subtyping. I didn't know that. Is there something really amazing that Crick, Son of Yawgmoth is doing that I'm not conscious of? Let me know, and we can consider including it. But elsewise, I would rather leave the rest of these slots for not only our removal suite, but maybe a handful more proactive cards and more reanimate spells. We'll see. Vendetta for removal. What about Bantu's Monument? I think we should have Bantu's Monument in here. But again, definitely follow along if you want to see. I think Yawgmoth himself is better. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. All right. How about this? Son or Father. I'm going to misspell his name because I don't really care about his name. Who do you want in the list? Son or father? But, well, I mean, if we were to include one, which one would you want? Is what I'm asking. If we're to include one. He's a combo with Aetherflux. He combos with Aetherflux. Why it was so difficult for me to read. That's cool. We're not using Aetherflux, though. We could. So Jim James says it's a free Acererak cast. It's free provided we also have a cost reducer, and it's pay 2 life. So not necessarily free. And pay 2 life is more than pay 1 life for our Carnival of Souls. So if I'm going to prioritize one of these two things, I think I would rather prioritize Carnival of Souls. Personally. But again, that's still a 3-card setup to include Acererak, right? He's just a second copy of Carnival. I guess, but here's the thing though, guys. He's 7 mana. Like if I'm trying to Ad Nauseam, he's 7 mana. And I'm going to prioritize Ad Nauseam before I prioritize Crick. So if I don't get to Crick, then I just lose 7 life. Whereas Carnival of Souls is 2 mana. If you've never played for Ad Nauseam, you always want to keep the list as light as possible, right? So if there are cards that combo in the list, and there are duplicates of that card, and in this instance, if we're saying Crick is the duplicate of that card, you need to go with the lighter option if you're trying to also go for an Ad Nauseam, because Ad Nauseam is what's going to get us to Carnival of Souls. If not, a Demonic Tutor in a situation that's just better for going straight for Carnival of Souls. I feel like Crick has more applications for the deck. Yawgmoth seems more of a sack strategy. Sun, because you don't want to sack Acererak. Oh, thank you. We definitely went off topic there, but thank you for the cheap removal suite. I need to look up Defile, though, because I've never played it. Do you mean rank and file? God, can we just go back? Can we just look at this guy over here? Can we just take into what's happening in this scene? Who did this art? Donato. Okay, this all makes sense now. That is brilliant. I've never seen that card, and I've never seen Defile. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. Oh, that's really sick, actually. Wow, I've never played this. This wouldn't really make sense. Oh my god. What? Yeah. Oh my god. If this list checks out, I'm obsessed with Old Border foils. So yeah, we're adding Defile. Thank you for that. That actually is really good here. Obviously, this is only good if you're prioritizing swamps, but this is decent single target creature removal. We also want to... Black is really deficient at... Feed the Swarm. It's really deficient at removing things that are kind of important. Feed the Swarm. Right? So, fortunately, the only things that really stop us are Drannith with Acererak is hasn't been cast yet, and Torpor Orb. I guess Torpor Orb's the only other thing that stops us. So a good way to get rid of the Torpor Orbs of the world, if anyone's on that right now, then we would want to do something about that. But I'll look over the rest of these. Snuff Out is expense. A Deadly Rollick, I can make no, I can't even make an excuse for Deadly Rollick because our commander's never going to be on the battlefield. I think Snuff Out makes sense. I think that we can add, someone was saying Vendetta. I don't mind Vendetta. It's a non-black creature specifically, but you lose life equal to its toughness. It's a tricky bit. I haven't looked specifically at mono black removal in a long time. My issue with Snuff Out is that it's expensive, but we might use Snuff Out anyways. It's like you're paying for life either way. Like you're paying for life. You're paying for life provided it's ad nauseam. You're paying for life if you want to cast this thing. It's pretty rough, but I do love Liliana, so we'll add Snuff Out. We'll add Snuff Out. Sorry. I realized my laptop was not muted, so you just heard that lovely sound. But let me go check in with you guys as if there's anything else you would want. Tragic Slip is cute. Good, Go for the Throat. Thank you for that. Go for the Throat, and I think Dismember's another one. We only need so much creature removal, mind you, because, again, I guess if there's like a Hushbringer or Tocatli Honor Guard or anything like that as well, that would stump us, right? Or is that when they die? They're Torpor Orbs. Hushbringer's a little bit more than Torpor Orb. But we'll also add a Dismember. I think Dismember is the one I'm thinking of. Give me 1 second. Yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of. I own this one, so we'll just put that one in there. Who knows? Okay. Planner Gate is too expensive. Defile is solid removal. Farika's Libation works in a pinch for enchantments. Farika's Libation. Okay. Saying some cards I've never seen before. Target opponent sacrifices creature. Target opponent. I think we're gonna stick with Feed the Swarm. I know it's sorcery, but I think we're just. I love the art here too, though. There's some good art in Magic the Gathering. Can we agree on that? Oh, here. Poll. We'll close the poll. Closing the poll. Closing the poll. Massacre. Toxic Deluge is 100. Yeah. I think we can agree on Toxic Deluge. For sure. That's not how you spell that. Let's see here. And Yaheni's Expertise. I'm going to just avoid Yaheni's. I think the idea would be to use Yaheni's Expertise. Okay, let's just look at it really quick. So you do -3, -3. Anything that's currently on the board. Then you may cast a card with a converted mana from your hand. From your hand. Damn it. I gotta tell you, I've always wanted to play this copy of Yaheni's Expertise. I've just been holding on to for the longest time. And I can see why you would want this. You know, if you've cast Acererak at this point, we'll incorporate Yaheni's Expertise. Why not? As just another board wipe option. I think that's fine. As a matter of fact, I want to take a look at just a second to look at the list overall to see what it's deficient in and what we might want to add. So let's just go ahead and do this live edit here. Let's see here. Is Vendetta too much life loss in a cEDH setting, or it really depends on what you're hitting? Man, I think it can be too much life loss, though, is what trips me up about it. But the thing is, Snuff Out's also kind of damning. But mind you, Snuff Out is free to cast. So, oh, well, you don't need to. Snuff Out is free to cast. So we're going to go over our suite of cards in just one moment. We need Lotus Petal and Jeweled Amulet really quick, actually. I always forget the Jeweled Lotus Petal. So let me just add that suite really quick. Okay, so 50-50 on father and son. How did we get 50-50, people? We could not come to an agreement on this one? We couldn't come to an agreement on father or son? Are we running both? What's going on here? Also, let me know, has this stream... I'm curious now because again, this is new, having Ethernet directly plugged into my MacBook. One, it's not venting as much as it usually does. I don't know why that is. I don't think that has to be separate. But how's the show? Laggy? Good. I just want to know if you've noticed any dropped frames, any major lag issues. Again, I will have Verizon Fios by the end of this week, so the show's going to be much smoother in general. But I'm curious if this has helped, and then obviously I'm going to maintain the setup for once this technician installs whatever I'm getting. I don't really know what that whole thing's going to look like. I think it's just one box this time. Spectrum, I've got like fucking 2 huge-ass boxes in my entertainment system, which I want to remove. All right. Let's see here. So, Urza's Incubator, how many other wizards? Oh, okay. So, Urza's Incubator, we're probably going to say zombie. The thing is, it's really just for Acererak, and that's honestly enough for me. But I guess you can say Dark Confidant and... Okay, no, Endrick. If you say wizard, you can say Endrick. If you say wizard, you get Endrick reduced, which is also really good for the list. So that's actually not so bad. All right. Or zombies or whatever. Yeah. Diregraph Colossus. There's a combo card for you. If you want to do the Gravecrawler loops, you can add Diregraph Colossus. And guys, do we incorporate Gravecrawler, Diregraph... Okay. If you guys don't know what Diregraph Colossus is, this makes no sense in talking about it. But basically, you make zombies whenever you cast a zombie spell. And this way, you can generate the mana sufficient, right? And this way, we can also, for our Urza's Incubator, state zombie and be able to leverage that on Diregraph as well. So we'd have 2 combos enabled for less. Although, mind you, Endrick, Acererak, Phyrexian Altar is the skinnier combo, is the easier one to shoot for. So maybe we add Diregraph and Gravecrawler. I know Gravecrawler is something that a lot of you guys wanted. Okay, I just want to look over our cards now. So we've got Bantu's Monument, which is an additional outlet for the list outside of just having a sufficient amount of cards with Acererak's and like Carnival of Souls setup. We have Phyrexian Altar as a combo card for infinite mana. We have Semblance Anvil, Urza's Incubator. We have, I thought we had another cost reducer. It's an enchantment. Okay. We've got Jet Medallion, fine. Jet Medallion coupled with Bantu's Monument is actually doing the trick as well. I don't think we need to add any more cost reducers than those 5, technically, with our Heartless Summoning. We've got Witchclaw Talisman, ramp obviously. Grim Monolith is good off of the Adnaz. Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone are going to be fine to give us those black pips when we need them, specifically when we're casting Acererak turn after turn. Mana Vault's good off the Adnaz, Soul Ring. All of these are fairly obvious, so we don't need to look at those for much longer. Blood Pet is fine. It's just a piggy bank for the deck. Not necessarily something that we need to hyper-focus, but it's there for that. Dalthi Voidwalker is just excellent value. Dark Confidant, good. Acererak, Frame Macabre, these are all fine. I'll get a little bit of Gravehaven there. I do deal with a lot of Underworld Breach strategies, so I do want to utilize the Frame Macabre. Even if it's 3 CMC, I think that's fine. Necrotic Ooze is in here as part of a play line with Scourge Familiar and Asmodeus. If you're tuning in late, I'll just reiterate this. It's a Buried Alive pile. You can reanimate Necrotic Ooze, draw the deck, right? So we don't necessarily want to draw the deck, mind you. We want to draw enough cards to where we are able to accommodate winning with a combo that would involve Carnival of Souls, Heartless Summoning, or any of our 2 reducers coupled with Acererak, right? So leave enough cards in our list to go through that one, not Tomb of Annihilation, not the Mage Maid, Fandelver. We can go through Fandelver enough to kill everyone, or genuinely, we could just find the Bantu's Monument and kill everyone that way too, and that's fine. But that's fine. I think that's enough for a Buried Alive pile. Again, Buried Alive, we can still find more targets for the Entomb, and if we want to go for the Unmarked Grave, we can find ourselves better or other targets. I do want to find some recovery utilities for us, and maybe we incorporate some of the... Damn it, I always forget the name of that MDFC, but it's a return battlefield, return battlefield, black instant. These effects, the stamina effects, endurance effects, but basically Malachur Rebirth, like stuff like this, supernatural stamina. We can incorporate stuff like that if we want. I've always liked Wake the Dead as an enabler. It's one that's often slept on, but if you're able to play off turn, like if we have an emergent zone, we can actually utilize this as well to get the ball rolling. If we have a way to recover our Necrotic Ooze playline, right, something like that. But I do want a few more reanimate targets before we go too deep into the reanimate pile of spells. Necropotence, it's just card value. Leyline of the Void isn't in yet, but it can be. We have the space for all three of the animate auras, so I think we just go for them. Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead. Heartless Summoning, Carnival of Souls we've talked on extensively. Dark Tutelage is one of my favorite draw utilities, so we're going to use that. Ad Nauseam, fine. Snuff Out, Dismember, all these things are fine. Go for the Throw. These are kind of staple removal pieces. Imp's Mischief is a favorite of mine. It's always good to have a redirect in the list. Mausoleum Secrets is going to be good, because Mausoleum Secrets, even with just one black card in our graveyard, we're able to get our Reanimate, right? Which is in the list and with our sorceries. Dark Ritual, Songs of the Damned. Again, this is only useful if our graveyard is flush with creatures, and I don't necessarily see that being the case, but we can go back to Songs of the Damned if we do get there. We've got Imperial Seal, Reanimate, Unearth, right? Unearth's good cycling. And maybe we can even look over some of our transmute spells. Maybe there's a nifty transmute for us, but I wouldn't really count on it. I think the only one I really like is Shred Memory, but we'll take a gander of that in a second. Unearth, Reanimate, these are all good. Feed the Swarm, removal again, tutor, and all of this is fine. And we're going to switch the art on this to better match what I would want to be playing. Okay, so Slaughter Pact is not something we really need to shoot for. There's never really an instance where you need to put yourself on a limb removing a creature. The only real creature that is that threatening is Thassa's Oracle, but then again, as soon as the ETB occurs, it's already too late for your Slaughter Pact to have mattered, right? So I'm good on Slaughter Pact. You can incorporate it, though, if you want, and you can easily remove one of the pieces of removal we have in the deck. I do want to incorporate some things that can remove artifacts. So let's discuss how we're going to deal with that. But let me end this poll while it's still going. Oh, cool. 96% of you say it's pretty good. And I'm assuming laggy would mean like 3% few dropped frames. Yeah, I'm excited for Fios, I have to say. I'm excited to see how good it is with really good internet. We'll see. All right, so what about grief? What about grief? Tell me your thoughts. Yeah, let's look at grief really quick. These are fine. I think that, okay, so far as these are concerned, Endrick is 5 mana. All right, we don't need the transmuters, but we'll look at Grief really quick. Grief is a new free spell, right? It's a part of a new cycle of incarnations that allow us to cast them for free. But when Grief enters the battlefield, it's an evoker. You get to exile a back card from your hand to cast it. But when it enters the battlefield, target player reveals their hand. You can choose an online card. As for CMC, I almost feel like as a preventative measure or something that I would rather do, I would rather just like, I would rather have duress effects, right? We should probably add a few of these. But let's go ahead and look at target opponent reveals. Target opponent reveals. This isn't going to hit everything. But why don't we just look at what we have here? Let's just look at what we have here. But there's some things, there's some instances where we're going to want to make ourselves discard. So I do want to consider those options as well. Specifically, Cabal Therapy. Cabal Therapy? Hold up. Because what's nice about Cabal Therapy is the fact that we could actually incorporate Cabal Therapy in our deck to use like a Entomb or like an unmarked grave to flash it back, right? So search your library for a non-legendary card, put it in your graveyard, and then you have Cabal Therapy to name a non-land card in yourself to like discard the Asmodeus and hopefully set up a play line that way. You kind of have to get crafty sometimes with reanimate strategies, but it's nice to be able to target yourself. But let me see here. Villas is always fun reanimation target. Not great for ad nauseum though. Yeah, and I think we are going to try to prioritize the ad nauseum. Not sure if it's already been suggested, but Basalt, Grim Monolith, Rings of Bright Hearth, Cabal, Coffers, Mirage Mirror. It hasn't been suggested, but that's quite a few cards, and we've actually got easier combos to accomplish that I want to shoot for first. But Vornim, if we happen to need another combo or want a different combo, we can do that. Shepherd of Rot, it may be too slow. I think we're going to avoid the Shepherd of Rot. Bubbling Muck is good though. I'm sorry. This is actually a really good card that you guys should check out before I look over our Duress style cards. But this is essentially like Black's High Tide. And I think that we can get away with it here. I think that Bubbling Muck makes sense. Do bear in mind that this is all requiring you do everything main phase. It is sorcery speed, but I do like Bubbling Muck here. Is Gadwick the Wizened? How do you pronounce that? An okay commander? I don't know. Maybe the chat can help you out there. Withering Boon. Withering Boon, the counter creature spell. I had Withering Boon. Why not? And it's fine. It's fine. I'm being asked about Genesis Chamber. Being asked about Genesis Chamber. Is this just another option over our Graph Digger, the Graph Colossus, whatever? I think we're probably good on that. Good old-fashioned Dark Ritual. I like Reign of Filth and Lake of the Dead over Song of the Dead. Songs of the Damned. I like Reign of Filth in an ad nauseum list, right? I think it's fine. Reign of Filth makes you sacrifice lands to generate black mana. It's good in Storm list. I would say that this is a Storm list. The way we want it to operate is as a Storm list, right? So we want as much utility to help us go through our list and obviously power through play lines, which we can discuss again in just a moment. Divest, Thoughtseize, Inquisition of Kozilek. Yeah, I like Divest is really good. Here, wait up. Divest is a cool one. Hold on. Target player reveals their hand. You choose an artifact or creature from it. Generally speaking, Divest is going to hit. I'm going to just switch this to player really quick. It's going to hit like fast mana. Early game fast mana. And you would generally do this against the more proactive list. But we can go ahead and add Divest. That's fine. Divest, Duress. I like those. Inquisition of Kozilek causes you to lose life, but it's actually quite good still. There's also Thoughtseize, which was mentioned as well. I like both of these. Inquisition of Kozilek. This is also just good information, if we're being honest. You want this information before you go into a combo turn. It's going to give you an idea of how far you can get, and or if you should just wait and let this person deal with someone else, right? In a lot of instances. Praetor's Grass could work as removal to hit any card type. Sure. I think Praetor's Grass is generally played by the individual for value, or it should be, but what's nice about Praetor's Grasp is that it can give you removal, I think is what's being suggested here. So if you guys haven't, I mean, it's fairly common in cEDH settings, but search target player's library for a card and exile it face down. Then the player shovels their library. You may look at and play the cards that remains exiled. Now, mind you, you do need the colored mana for whatever said removal is, or whatever card you grab is. It doesn't have to be removal. Generally speaking, like when I Praetor's Grasp, I'm either grabbing, this is like post-infinite something, and I've got blue mana, and I'm grabbing a Thassa's Oracle, and or I'm grabbing like a Mana Crypt. It's less removal, it's less ramp for them and more for me, which is good. And imagine my Mana Crypt with their Mana Crypt and my Acererak. That's really good, right? If you have Phyrexian Altar, Noxious Ghoul can be a reanimation target that will do negative non-zombies out with Acererak cast. Is this another combo card for... Okay, let me look at this. Noxious Ghoul. So should we look at more of these? Or another... All non-zombie creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. This is kind of cool. This is kind of cool removal, but it's very expensive is the thing. The CMC of it is expensive. Although we can get a Legion foil and it would look amazing. Oh my god. Okay. Luca Zontini. I'll keep my eyes out for you. Crypt Gas, I think we're good on. Bajuka Bog is a good card? Question mark. It's a good card. I don't think we necessarily need it. Ashes to Ashes has some cool... Oh, so Ashes to Ashes. Not only one of my favorite David Bowie lines and songs, right? Ashes to ashes, fun to funky. It's also creature removal in this game. So exile 2 target non-artifact creatures. Ashes to Ashes deals 5 damage to you. It's fine. I think this was... It's fine. I don't know if we need any more creature removal. We do need to look for removal for other things. I think something like... God, I hate saying it, but it's sort of a necessary evil. Like a Ratchet Bomb would be good. Ratchet Bomb... We need removal. We need removal for things. Now, what's beautiful about this strategy, what's beautiful about this deck is that I think Opposition Agent and Aven Mind Sensor are probably the most common threats that we'll see. Obviously, there are stacks list out there that may run Trinity Spheres or Sphere of Resistance or things that are going to just shut our list down so far as like Storming Off is concerned. And we don't have good solutions to those things in mono black. So we do need to incorporate a handful of things. I think I incorporated Blast Zone already, or I had put Blast Zone in here. And we can see how that sort of squeezes into the list. But we need to look for removal now for artifacts. So... holler if you know some cards that I don't. Is there something better than a Ratchet Bomb? When I played mono black, it was years ago, and it was very difficult to do. Mire and Misery, is that only enchantments? Mire and Misery. Mire and Misery is sacrifice creature and enchantments. I like Mire and Misery, although they're given a choice. It's low CMC, it's asymmetrical, and you're hitting all your opponents at once for 2 mana. That's actually quite good, even if it's at sorcery speed. We need removal. We need removal. Endrixar Master Breeder seems nice if you're looking for die triggers, makes 3 dudes. So we have Endrixar in the list, Mackie. I'll encourage you to check out the list in the description. You can sort of follow along where it's at now. But if there's another card like Endrixar, let me know, please. I would like to incorporate it. Crazy how Voidwalker makes all these discard spells better. Yes, I know. It makes me want to add more. I think we've added 4. Okay, so we're going to add Unmarked Grave and Cabal Therapy. Just wait. We'll do this. We'll do this. It may not make sense now, but it might make sense later. Cabal Therapy. Oh, Stone. Blast Zone is not in, I think. Oh, I added it a moment ago. Feed the Swarm for enchantment removal. It's about the best we get. Gate of Phyrexia can just... Gate of Phyrexia. I'm not going to add Gate of Phyrexia. I'm not going to add Gate of Phyrexia because it's so slow and predictable. If you've never seen this card, it's also very expensive now, if I'm not mistaken, because it's... because it is on the reserve list. Oh my god, I did not sell mine for $125 though. I sold this before the actual boom of reserve list cards, and I think I sold it for like $40. So I'm going to try not to get aggravated over this, but it's not a good card. It's so situational. I hate Gate to Phyrexia so much, so don't make me regret selling it. Okay, so Tragic Slip is being suggested. I don't think we need any more creature removal. Mind you, I like Tragic Slip, but I'm not sure it's entirely necessary. Also, that art is just on point, like on every level. So, Stone, Oblivion Stone. The issue with Oblivion Stone is that it's no Ratchet Bomb, right? So like Powder Keg. So this is like a thinner version of that, right? So the issue with Powder Keg over something like Ratchet Bomb is the fact that Ratchet Bomb gives you choice. Why is this card expensive? Do I still own my copy? Yeah, I got this old box from Rise of the Eldrazi when I was collecting years ago. I always keep these like fat pack boxes. Like I gotta know if I own my powder keg still. I'm gonna be a little annoyed if I don't, because why is this a $20+ card right now? One second. I'm be super annoyed if I happen to sell this as well. Oh my god. Because I had like the little promo version there. The magic rewards. Because I would want something like a powder keg, is what I'm saying. I got the Panharmonicon though. You guys want that? Got the Ratchet Bomb still. Got the Ratchet Bomb. And we don't have my powder keg. So yeah, it's annoying. Okay. But powder keg, what's nice about this is that you destroy each artifact and creature with converted mana cost equal to the number of fuse counters on powder keg. It only costs you 2 to cast, and mind you do need to wait for these triggers to go on it. So why I kept the Ratchet Bomb over the powder keg, but it's a necessary evil in mono black list because you don't have options. You just don't have options for artifacts. So Withering Boon to prevent creature combos. Yep. Nev's Disc. Nah. Zenic Poltergeist for the memes. Oh my god. Alright, we need 5 cards in here, guys. Make them good. Tell me what cards you want in this list so we can start trying it. Phyrexian Tribute. This better be fucking... Oh, you know what? I'm narrowing that down. Night's Whispers. Adding it. Sign in Blood. Adding it. What other draw cards do you want? Let me know. And make them good. Make any... Whatever you suggest right now, make it really good. I have Nev's Disc, by the way. I know I own Nev's Disc. I shouldn't have got rid of that powder keg. What the hell, reserve list? Ugh. Okay. Next poll. Really curious to your thoughts on this, everyone. But the next poll is up. All right, Phyrexian Tribute. Deathmatch. Deathmatch. All right. Whenever a creature comes into play, each creature's controller may have target creature of his or her choice get -3, -3. Well, I mean, that's one. I love RK Post. So any card with RK Post art, I'm probably going to enjoy. We don't need any more creature removal, though. I do appreciate the suggestion. Someone is suggesting Read the Bones, which is an interesting way to draw cards, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably going to run into it in a second while I'm trying to find good draw utilities that I might have missed that have recently come out. But Read the Bones wouldn't be bad. Mythos of Nithroy. Let's go. Oh, Mythos of Nithroy. Okay. We've got 3 cards left, people. 3 cards. I can't use this. Damn it. Village Rites. Village Rites, yes. Read the Bones. Okay, we'll put Read the Bones because it's coming up enough. Reads the Bones? It reads the bones. Well, it makes sense being a Lich Lord, doesn't it? Village Rites is fine, but I don't know if we have enough creatures to really make Village Rites super abusable. Screw it. We'll put Village Rites. You know, if we added Village Rites and we added Scheming Symmetry, then we might have a nice little 1-2 punch there. Although we're really asking for things to go just our way. Deadly Dispute, Plumb the Forbidden for draw. I think that a Deadly Dispute, I don't know. So let's look at that really quick. Deadly Dispute. Oh, this is a new card. Draw 2 cards and create a treasure. Why didn't I know about this card? This is a good card. This is a good card. Sacrifice an artifact to creature, right? Instant speed. Pop off your mana vault when you're done with it. That's not bad. And it gives you color fixing, right, for other lists, but just ramp afterwards. I don't hate this card. I do not hate this card. As a matter of fact, you are the winner. Deadly Dispute. Who suggested it first? Antonio Rondon. You are the winner. Deadly Dispute. All about it. All about those Deadly Disputes. Now let's test the shit out of this deck. And look, to make life easier for everyone following, I'm going to go ahead and do this. If you wanted to check out the list, if you wanted to test it with me, now is the time. All right, so it looks like 23% of the audience was pulling my dick, talking about the reserve list. And the rest of you agree with me that the reserve list is utter bullshit on a personal level. I own most of the cards I need. I own all the cards I need, other than like Mishra's Workshop Factory. Is that Mishra's what? What is it? Expensive ass land I've always wanted to own and just never got around to buying and is now way too expensive. Mishra's Workshop. Yeah, 41,000. Wait, 41,000. It's not too far off though in terms of cardboard playing cards, but $4,100 is a bit much for me. It's a little too much for my taste. It's only this expensive because it's on the reserve list. It's only this expensive because it's on the reserve list. But yeah, that stuff like that really pisses me off. I got to tell you. All right. You have Dark Confidant in there. Yes, we do. Not draw, but Tendrils of Agony. I like Tendrils of Agony. Deadly Dispute is almost better than the Village Rites because it can ramp. What I like about Deadly Dispute, though, is it hits artifacts, too. So that takes our pool from 10 creatures with Acererak, which Village Rites, to be honest with you, that's not enough creatures in my book, to 9 plus 18 plus Acererak. So it's either 27 or 28 if Acererak is on the battlefield. Because it's instant speed, you can do it to sack Acererak if you want. That's not a bad card. It's not a bad card. Let's test this out, though. We want to get some fast hands and even faster plays. Okay, well, this has... This is slow. Why the fuck? Wait, what? I added Village Rites? Well, we need to switch out that Village Rites for something else. Plunge into Darkness and Lethal Vapors. We're going to put Plunge into Darkness over Village Rites. This starting hand is okay, if you could see it, but it's not good enough. But we'll put Plunge into Darkness. I'm not really high on Village Rites for this list. I forgot I put it in here. But we'll put Plunge. Okay. Now let's test it. Feed the Swarm is in there. It should be in there. Okay. Try that again. We got the Dark Writ. We got the Semblance Anvil. We got the Ratchet Bomb. Why not? Okay. We're going to go here. Swamp. A snow-covered swamp. Why did I go for snow-covered swamps? What the? Scalding Tarns and snow-covered swamps. Okay, so we're going to do Dark Writ into a Semblance Anvil. And we're going to get... Oh, my God. We only have one creature. All right, so we're not going to do the Scourge Familiar line of play. I just want to get the ball rolling on this. I just want to start venturing into dungeons, right? So let's do the... we want the Fandelver one. We're not doing it yet. I just want to have it on the battlefield to refresh my memory, right? Yeah, I think we want this one. Okay, so we'll do that. Call me crazy, but I think this makes sense. Okay, so go there. We'll use the Verdant Catacombs. Anytime we can thin our list, we should. We're not using Sensei's Divining Top. That might be useful when the shuffle comes into play, but as this deck is structured right now, we don't necessarily care that we're blowing through our fetch lands. We only have 4 in the list outside of Prismatic Vista, which needs to go in the list. I don't know why I don't have Prismatic Vista in here. What is wrong with me? Okay, so we want to get just thin our list out of all of our swamps. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and play Acererak. Acererak will enter the battlefield, bounce to our hand, but we also get to scry one. So let's scry one. Emergent Zone. Okay, so Emergent Zone, straight to the bottom of our list. And then we get to play them again, if we want. Now, mind you, does this make the most sense? No. It's just that I can do it, so I am. Treasure. And then we get to do it again, if we want. Now, would this make more sense to hold? We don't have any playable... Nah, fuck it. Treasure. Wait, we got options. We got options. Each opponent loses 1 life, I gain 1 life. Target creature gets negative... Fungi Cavern? We'll go to the dark pool. We'll just go to the dark pool. Whatever. Okay. That was fun. Let's do that again. Let's go. Bam. Acererak. We're going to draw a card this time. Actually, let's do this smart. Let's just see if we pull a land off the top that's better. Okay. No, we did not. Oh my god. Jeweled Lotus is so good in this list, by the way. Okay. So before... Okay. We drew a card. Cool. We're getting a Jeweled Lotus. This is assuming that people are just letting us be who we want to be and cast Acererak a lot by turn 3. Jeweled Lotus, 3 black mana. Let's go. Going in 1. Scrying again. What's on top? Enough with the lands. Enough with the lands. This is why you try to deck thin. We're going to take out some lands and add Prismatic Vista. I think that's what I'm figuring out right now. So we're going to do that. Bam. 1 down. Let's go another one. Nope, not that. I'm going to leave Acererak on the battlefield and tap him when he's in our hand and then untap him when he's back on the battlefield, okay? So we're going to make treasures. Do we want to make treasures or do we make little goblins this time? Because we have Diabolic Intent. Let's just be smart. Let's be smart. Okay, let's do the 1/1 goblin. There we go. Yeah, and look at that goblin. Look at this little guy. What? He's so excited to be here. Look at him. All right. Cool. Got the little goblin. Acererak, back to our hand. We have 1 more commander mana, so we're going to use it. And we're going to use it to put a 1/1 counter not on our goblin. We're going to go to Dark Pool again. I'm sorry. Was the goblin's going to die? Who are we kidding? Okay, so Semblance Anvil, done. That's done. All right. We get to draw a card soon, but I think that I want to do this. So we can either do Deadly Dispute. Okay. We could pretend like we have options and Deadly Dispute the goblin, or we can Diabolic Intent the goblin now as set up for a later turn. But because we have the Semblance Anvil in play, I really want... No, I could have gone for I need the Carnival of Souls. I needed additional mana to do the Carnival of Souls trick. I should not have gone to Dark Pool yet, is what I'm saying to you. Wait, no, I don't even have the mana sufficient anyways to cast it. Okay, look, here's what we'll do. Let's just set up the thing. Let's do the thing, set up the thing, Diabolic Intent, and let's just hope that this isn't where someone plays down some massive hate to stop us from having fun, but we're going to put that shit in our hands. We went to Dark Pool, whatever. Our energy's gone. Let's go to our next turn. That's actually really useful making goblins. It's really useful making creatures. I totally forget that these have the ability to like make things. I actually need to just see what this does now. Create 2 1/1 black skeletons? Come on. It might have been more advisable to go to Dungeon of Mad Mage. Like, you actually need to think about the rhythm of your cast. Okay. An aside. I'm having a lot of fun doing this because this is something I don't typically do in Commander. We were very fortunate to have the Scourge Familiar to set this up. But I will state that we have just made this list. But if you're playing this methodically, if you're thinking about the rhythm of your cast, I don't know why I put it that way, you might want to map out what you go for and when. Like having the Jeweled Lotus is actually really potent, as we just saw, because we're able to set this thing up for ourselves. But you also want to think about which dungeons you go into, and the number of steps it takes each dungeon to get to the thing you want to do. Although Phandelver, I think, gets us there quicker so far as making bodies is concerned. I really like how this is going, the rate it's going there. And let's just pretend that we're in happy mystery fun time land, Christmas bonanza, super friends land, whatever people call it. And we go to our next turn. So we drew another swamp. So I'll play the swamp. Cast the Carnival of Souls. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah. Okay. Probably should have tracked my life. We're gonna go down. Well, actually, we've used, okay, so we've used 2 fetch lands, but we've gained 2 life from visiting the Dark Pool. I knew there was a reason I went there. Let's just pretend that our opponents did 5 damage to us at this point. There's probably people doing more than we are. Just based off of what we just saw, there are definitely people doing more than what we are doing. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the Acererak player. But like, this guy's literally just playing with himself. He's literally, if that's your deck's goal, fine. Let us know when you want to join the party. So now, Acererak, go. Cast him. We get 1 black. I'm just going to put 1 energy up here so that we know, right, that we have this going for us. At this instance, I genuinely think, so we lose life every single time this occurs. Okay. This is going to bounce to our hand. Now, the life gain only comes from this one, right? The Lost Mine of Phandelver. But if we're trying to find solutions right now, hold up. I said we'd leave him on the battlefield, right? Okay, so how do we want to accommodate this? So he's up in our hand right now. Between these 2 dungeons, it honestly feels like 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-way, okay, it takes you, scry 1, 4 actions to draw. What's also nice is that when we create this token, the goblin token, we also generate mana, right? So I think that we're genuinely going to go for the goblin lair so that we can also Deadly Dispute, just to go through a little bit more of our list and make the treasure that way. So let's just do that. Okay, so we'll do boop, play it again. We've scryed 1. I'm sorry. So we know it's on top. Dothy Voidwalker, I love you. We're gonna move you to the bottom of the library. All right. Gonna bounce to our hand. We have mana available. We'll do it again. We are gonna go for this one, I think, and we can talk about whether this one makes more sense over this one, the Dungeon of the Mad Mage or the Phandelver. But let's go ahead and make the little goblin. So this is going to net us 2 mana, right? So we have 2 mana here. Let's bounce it back to my hand. And we lose life. I should be tracking this. I think we're down at least 3, right? Let's just say 3. I'm not tracking this. We'll just use the mana I have floating. We'll do Deadly Dispute here. Break that. I will make a treasure. I'm probably going to sack the treasure here. That's fine. I'll draw 2 cards. Okay. I'll do the Phyrexian Tower. There's the only thing that's better in this instance is if we pull into Lake of the Dead, so I think we should probably wait. But I'm really not hoping to see Lake of the Dead. We'll use this here. And then we're back to having mana on the battlefield. We lose 1 life. And bounce to our hand. We are going to go to the Lost Pool, or the Dark Pool rather. This segment of our video is going to take a little while because we're doing what you see me doing right now. So we get to do this. We get to do this a few more times. So I'm gonna tune in with you guys to see where you're at. But Wandering Archaic is fun. Could be. Venture Mechanic is a meme in my opinion. Oh, is it a meme now, Ben? Is it a meme now? Probably. You might want to add village rights back because you can make goblins to sack. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. We'll talk about what to switch out. Other than this deck, it really is a meme. This one is very good with Etherflux. The longer the dungeon. I'm going to have to hard agree on the Ether Flux now because of the finite. Yeah, I think that Ether Flux makes sense. So let's just go do a few things and test this again. Bitter Blossom, Dreadhorde Invasion. That's a good idea, Walker. So let's look at Dreadhorde Invasion really quick. These are specifically, in case you don't know, they make tokens. Sorry, is this how you spell it? Yep. So this makes this amasses to make tokens. Obviously, Bitter Blossom just makes fairies. If you don't know Bitter Blossom, I don't know if we need the token generation outside of Acererak. Now, mind you, this was a very particular scenario. Like, this isn't going to happen every time, but the way it unfolded here was actually really sweet. I got to tell you, what I would be aiming for right now in this instance is a tutor. I would make treasures with Lost Mine of Phandelver. I would get Aetherflux Reservoir. And if I can do that within the next 30, it's 30 casts, but we're gaining 1 life, right? We're gaining 1 life in this functionally. So that adds to our cast count. So for every 1, 2, 3, for every 3 cast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's for every 4 cast, technically. Beyond Dark Pool, we get an additional cast. So 4 divided by 30. Hit me up. And then we get that many more cast. So let's go ahead and add the Aetherflux Reservoir. I can understand that now. I like that for the simple life gain in the scenario we just were in. And maybe Village Rites again. So Aetherflux Reservoir. Village Rites. Because those, we make fucking goblins. We make goblins. I don't think Semblance Anvil is a great card for this deck, by the way. Like, we were very fortunate, I have to say, that we had the Scourge Familiar in our hand there, because we only have 9 creatures. So I kind of want to get rid of Semblance Anvil, despite seeing it go off there. Like, I understand, like, generally that was good, but we don't have enough creatures to really warrant its place in this deck, in my firm opinion. So, and beyond Urza's Incubator, so we've got Urza's Incubator, we have the Heartless Summoning. I think that's going to be enough. And I also think that the Blood Pet, while cute, is probably the next thing we can take out. Although I do want to take out a land. So I do want to add Prismatic Vista. Okay, so what we're going to do is add Prismatic Vista. We pulled way too many lands. But I'll add Prismatic Vista and call it a day with that. And that will give us the 99. If you guys want to make a case for Semblance Anvil, though, we can put it back in the list. Again, though, like, that was a very good... Because the percentage chance of us having a creature in hand is very low. 99 cards with 9 creatures. So we were fortunate that that was the setup in our starting hand there. But let's add Prismatic Vista and try this one more time. I actually think that this is working, by the way. If you're wondering my thoughts on Acererak so far, for a list that we assembled in less than 2 hours, I think this is pretty good. I think this is pretty okay. Mono Black doesn't have a lot of great ways to interact with the rest of the board outside of creature removal. And obviously some Grave Hate shenanigans, stuff like that. And you can kind of consider reanimation a form of interaction. Like if you're stealing something that someone else was trying to utilize with Dance of the Dead, whatever. Like you could take someone's Dockside Extortionist. That's actually really useful. But I like where this is going. We're not going to keep this in. Bolas' Citadel, I know people play it with Aetherflux, never tried it. Honestly, just Aetherflux with the setup you saw is great. Is this hand keepable? Not really. You know, Jeweled Lotus is only really good once you've assembled the combo that we just saw, right? Like, we kind of want Jeweled Lotus then. But otherwise, I don't see why we would want to go in on life gain here or the Scry one. It's kind of cute to put Acererak in our hands at least, and maybe that way we can use a reanimate spell later, discard him, reanimate him. This isn't a good enough hand in my opinion either. And we're going to ignore like typical mulligan rules where you discard X amount of cards, yada, yada, yada. We're just going to ignore that for the purposes of testing this list. I think that this is fine. We have the Unmarked Grave, the Animate Dead. Mind you, this is probably just going to go for value, right? I might want to go for... Okay, so... What I'm looking at here is this. I'm considering the fact that we have Edric Sar on our list, but there's no great way to get to him. We'll keep this. Whatever, we'll keep this. Okay, this. This. We'll get rid of the Animate Dead. And I really want to put a creature in my graveyard. So the Unmarked Grave is probably going to go for Dark Confidant, if I'm being perfectly honest here. Dark Confidant. Was we need to start replenishing our hand. Although, unfortunately, Unmarked Grave is non-legendary. So I'm trying to think of like between our suite of cards. And there are other things that we can grab. It doesn't need to be a creature. But I am... probably just going to go for... I'm probably just going to go for the Dark Confidant here. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do that. Goes into my graveyard. Okay, shuffle up. Pass. Alright, first thing we're going to do is lay down a Blast Zone. We actually do need this utility quite a bit. We'll use the Chrome Mox to reanimate the Dark Confidant. And I think with that, we're probably good. If this Dark Confidant's ever threatened, what I would want to do is utilize the Deadly Dispute. But let's just pretend that it goes off without a hitch. This is what we lose life on. And then we will draw a card. Let's go ahead and with our Swamp. I will cast Acererak after putting down... The Soul Ring's going to help us fill up the Blast Zone should we need it. And this list might even thrive on expedition map, because things like the Phyrexian Tower, the Lake of the Dead, and this Blast Zone are actually really vital to the strategy here. It's nice to have the excess mana when you're trying to pop off with Ad Nauseam, so on and so forth, all that good stuff. I'm going to try to get the most out of Dark Confidant, so I'll probably want to also lay down this Blood Pet to Diabolic Intent. And in truth, I could probably just avoid using Acererak right now. I would only be concerned about casting Acererak now to put it in my hand in case I'm expecting a Drannith Magistrate from a white list at the table. But elsewise, we should probably just hold on to Acererak. I'm going to leave him on the battlefield still, just off to the side. It's just easier to reach. But we'll go ahead and cast the Soul Ring. I will cast the Blood Pet, and I will cast the Diabolic Intent. Now... what do we go for here is the real question. We don't have any other combo card in our hand necessarily. And so far as the setup is concerned, it's not leaning any one way. So the skinniest combo we have actually relies on Phyrexian Altar and Endrick, right? Curiously enough, that's actually the easiest combo for us to accomplish. Endrick is also really nice with the Deadly Dispute because we're making those Thrall. We have the mana for Ad Nauseam, though, is what I'm looking at here. I guess we should have done... I'm sorry. We should probably use the right amount of mana for this. So we did this for Soul Ring. We'll tap the Soul Ring. This for Blood Pet and this. This way we leave open one generic and one black. That's how we should technically do this. Right? Am I mistaken there? No. Okay. Yeah. So we've got one generic floating, one black. Okay. Honestly, I mean, am I wrong? Let's just do Ad Nauseam and see if we can power through a win, I think is the general goal here. So we're not really going to use the mana we have floating, but we might as well just have, we might as well have cast these spells correctly. Let's just go for the Ad Nauseam, and then we'll see what our world looks like when we get Ad Nauseam to go off in this deck to see if it's even worth trying to shoot for an Ad Naus package. And mind you, this one cast isn't going to dictate for the rest of this deck's life whether Ad Nauseam is worth it. It's usually worth it. And we're going to do... Oh, thank God we pulled the Aether Flux Reservoir now because I didn't want to take 4 damage. Let's just do a main phase ad nauseum and see how greedy we can get. I think with... we took 4 life because of Dark Confidant. I'm sorry. And we'll draw a card. That would have been another 4. Damn. Yeah, we're going to main phase ad nauseum. I just want to see what it looks like. All right, so the 3 generic there. We got 1 black floating. Let's hope we pull into Lake of the Dead because that's really going to help us. And we've got 33 life to spend. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Lake of the Dead. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll go down 12. 13, 14. Let's just no. I'm just going to start that count over from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. Wow, that brought us down to 1 life. Yeah, we definitely want to stop there. I think Read the Bones is too slow for this list. I don't know if I'm going to keep Read the Bones, but let's just go from here. So we're going to do the Lake of the Dead. It's going to break this swamp. And what I want to do is just add up our mana here. So we've got 5 mana floating off of this. We'll do 5. We're going to use this other life total to track our black mana, and we can use these other values for any sort of generic we start floating here. We'll go ahead and cast the Mox Opal. We will cast the Chrome Mox. I swear to God, I saw one. Did I see a Chrome Mox? Am I lying to you? Am I lying to you? I see a Mox Diamond, so we'll do that. Mox Diamond's going to get rid of the fetch land because we technically can't survive a fetch land. The black. Let's just add 7 here. We obviously want to go for the Aetherflux Reservoir as soon as possible, right? But if you're looking at this and doing the math with me, we also have a Cabal Ritual online. So we're going to lose 2, but go up 5 here. So we'll go up to 10 mana. And at this point, we should probably track our storm count as well. But I think we've done Ad Nauseam. We've done Ad Nauseam, Cabal Ritual. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just 4 spells so far. Energy will be storm count, I guess. None of these will go up enough for us. But at a certain point, we'll hit threshold where it doesn't matter. This should technically be at 1. Am I wrong? We have 1 life. Oh, what am I doing? I was tracking mana. Tracking mana there. Okay, so this is going to be really good for us. This is really good for us. We don't have a tutor, do we? Just the Imperial Seal, but we lose life off of that. And we don't have an Entomb. Trying to look for whatever we have that can possibly give us the solution we need right now. We're going to need this to gain life. And this is the tutor we need. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just cast this Grim Monolith. Tap the Grim Monolith. I'm just going to get all of our mana forward first. Yahenni's is kind of cute. It's not necessary, though, whatsoever. We had to have 1 form of protection. They let the Ad Nauseam go off, so we can just consider ourselves good here. So at this point, we really just want to hit our Carnival of Souls with the cost reducer in Aetherflux. That's it. Or Endrick with Phyrexian. I think the quickest thing to get to would be Endrick, but we don't have a solution to tutor outside of the Wishclaw. So let's just go ahead and drop the Wishclaw Talisman. Right? And let's just go for Endrick. I think that makes the most sense, except Endrick's very expensive. We should go for Entomb is what we should go for. So let's go for Entomb. Give this to someone. Right? We'll cast Entomb. Do we have a reanimate spell that doesn't damage us? I thought I saw an animate dead or something. These are not on the battlefield yet. Give me 1 second. Dance of the Dead. Do we have enough mana is the next question. We've got 7 mana. This is going to be 1, 3. 1, 3. No, we don't. 1, 3. 6. Oh, wow. We're asking for a lot of cards to be cast right now. Okay. I want to win with you guys right now. I agree on Cut Reading the Bones. Also, I tuned in late. What is he using a dungeon abused or reservoir? Oh, we're about to see. We can win right now. I feel it in my gut, people. And I want to Wishclaw Talisman this Entomb, but I think that this step here is requiring too much of us. If what we're requiring right now is this and Endrick, that is 1-3. I don't have enough mana to put everything down. Give me 1 second to figure this out. Because if we sacrifice this to Phyrexian Altar, we get 1 more black. And we need a sufficient enough amount of mana to cast this, sacrifice the 3 Thrall, cast him again repeatedly. I mean, I just want to do it to see if it works. I don't think it does, though. I need more mana. Would it have been cheaper to go for Imperial Seal with a draw effect? I don't think so. Night's Whisperer cost life anyways, right? Let's just do it. I went for it. Let's just do it. And if I fail, I fail, and then we've learned something new. But we're going to go for Endrick. We will use the generic we have floating. Use this to cast the Dance of the Dead. Let me just see if I shouldn't do anything else before this. I really don't think that this is the right... We were like 1 mana shy with what's happening here. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. Right, so that we bring this into play. We get Endrick. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create X black spell creatures. Sure. Right. Okay, so we do that. No, do I have enough? Am I wrong? Did I lost the mana, so Endrick's on the battlefield. Oh, we still need to cast Phyrexian Altar. That's the deal. All right. And that way we lose. Right. So we don't have... we would sacrifice this. And if you see a playline that I'm not seeing, I'd love to know it. But that was the best I think I could have mustered right there. But you get the idea. What you would want to do is do this and then cast our boy, spend the 3 mana in that scenario, and make 3 Thrall, bounce it to our hand, sacrifice 3 Thrall. You have all the black mana necessary to go through Phandelver. And Phandelver in this instance with 55 cards in our deck is going to let us go through the Dark Pool numerous times. So I'm going to tune in with you all because that was really enjoyable, but this does bring us to the end of our video. I want to know your thoughts. Okay, so last poll of the day. Okay, last poll of the day before we close this one out, guys. And I want to read through your comments. So, Bolas' Citadel, no, Cabal Coffers and Bogwitch. We don't have that in the deck, so just knowing what we have in the deck is why I pulled up the separate list. I wanted to look at that with you. Copying is not casting. This is correct. I think cut Blood Pet and add Bogwitch because it can put creatures into the graveyard and it can get mana. I think Bogwitch is just very expensive. I'm not going to look over any more cards, but again, like I said off the top of this video, you know when I make these videos with you guys, when I do the cold brews, these lists are for you to shape as you will after we're done concluding it. But I'd love to know your thoughts. If there was a playline I missed, we got very close there. And let me just state that I do think that this list would be better casting the Ad Nauseam off turn. I just wanted to know if this list could do a main phase Ad Naus, and it got really close. Like, we didn't see any of our ritual. We did see Cabal Ritual, so I am lying there. It just requires a lot of moving parts, and we didn't have a clean tutor to get the ball rolling on what we had. And we did find a lot of good synergy cards, but nothing that would get us directly to one of our play lines. So Phyrexian Altar and Endrick, easily the coolest playline in this list. Thank you so much for that suggestion, Zach, of earlier. But if it wasn't that, we can do Aetherflux Reservoir with the Incubator and the Carnival of Souls. If you want to add Crick, you can add Crick. But just bearing in mind, guys, when you saw that Ad Nauseam, I went down to 1 life. If we saw Crick while doing Ad Nauseam, we would have not been able to get that far. This is why we didn't add Crick. You can add Crick if you want, but just bear in mind, that you're still going to need the incubator or the Heartless Summoning or whatever with Crick. So just stick with the Carnival of Souls. I think it might have been more advisable actually to just go incubator there, Wishclaw Talisman, and then get the Heartless Summoning, right? And then that would have given us the opportunity to at least dig for a little bit, right? Because it's going to be incubator, incubator, Carnival of Souls, and our guy, and that can let us dig for a little bit, draw a few more cards, gain a little bit of life. Maybe that was more practical. But if you want to add Crick, you can add Crick. If there's any other combo lines, you can add them. But I do think that the way this list is built now makes sense for it. I do think that adding the Aetherflux Reservoir also made sense, because ultimately we wanted to make the treasures off of Fandelver to cast Aetherflux Reservoir and win the game. That would have been the play line. That would have been the way to go. Let's see here. Is Aetherflux Reservoir was on the field yet? No. I was just putting stuff out that was relevant for that combo line. Yeah, maybe we can't get too much greedy in this deck, ad nauseam ASAP. Yeah. But guys, that actually did a thing. That is not a bad deck. I'm actually going to take time to work on this a little bit more. I enjoyed it quite a lot. But to all of you for tuning in and viewing this video every week, like all these cold brews, thank you so much. And of course, to our Patreon community, you guys are the best. I hope you like this new outro graphic I made. This is what you'll see every live stream. So thank you guys so much for your support here on the 99. You guys are the best. Our Patreon community helps to make all this happen. So thank you so much for supporting the show in that way. And again, to you guys for tuning in every month. I really, really like this deck. I think it certainly has the bones to stand on. I think Acererak is a pretty solid zombie wizard commander just by himself. Now, do mind that there are some deficiencies here. Like, you're not going to be able to interact with artifacts or enchantments as well as other lists. So if there are stacks set up against you, if they aren't hate bears, you will fall behind. You will definitely trail behind. But for a mono black commander, this is kind of as good as it gets. Like, I have played through a few mono black commanders and they are tough. We did Yawgmoth last week or 2 weeks ago, and I don't think it was this good. There are so many synergies for just playing a payoff commander like Acererak, and we didn't even levy the venturing as hard as we could have. But as it stands, I love this guy. I'd love to see what you all do with this guy. And thanks again for tuning into this cold brew. My name is Patrick Marlett, and happy brewing, babies.